Hello, my name is Brian Robinson. I run the Winston-Salem Steelers. Founded the program in 1996 along with Nell Johnson, who was Nell Pollard at the time. And Nell was a rising freshman at Reynolds High School, where I was a varsity boys assistant and JV baseball coach at the same time. In the spring of '95, spring, summer, right at the end of May, 1st of June, we had a basketball camp at Reynolds, and all boys, 3 girls. And one of the girls was Nell, and she and I developed a friendship through that camp. Fast forward to the spring of '96, ran into her on the way to JV baseball practice, and she said, "Coach Robinson, I really enjoyed basketball camp last year. Do you have any ideas where I can play AAU in the spring, because I want to get better for my basketball team, the high school team at Reynolds?" And so I told her, I said, "Well, there's not a lot of girls options in the area, but if you do this, you find a couple of girls that would like to play, I will coach a team for you." Wasn't sure if she could find enough kids or not, or girls to play, but offer was on the table. Within a week, she'd found enough to want to play, and we jumped into the AAU world. We got our brains beat out that season. We didn't play that many tournaments, but the tournaments we did play in, AAU was not a nice world then. It's not nice now, but it really wasn't nice then. And but the girls always said, and their parents said the same thing, our girls are getting better. Our girls are having fun. Our girls are really enjoying this. And it made me feel good, because when you get a 30, 40, 50-point loss constantly, you wonder if you're really making a difference in a positive way. And they all said, "We'd like to do this again the following fall." Well, I told them my goal, or my idea, was just to coach that spring, be done in May, and move on to whatever I was going to move on to. Matter of fact, I was even thinking about getting out of coaching, period, and going on and doing something else in the business world. But through the prodding of Nell at the team party at her house that spring, I decided to give it one more chance. We formally became the Winston-Salem Steelers at the time. Worked on getting a board put together, got uniforms, whatnot, and her friends told their friends, and their friends told their friends, and next thing you know, I have 2 teams to coach, and now 4 teams, and it just kept growing and growing and growing, and next thing you know, we have an organization on our hands, and here we are in 2022, still going strong. I will say that I have no regrets. The roller coaster that you get on sometimes when you're coaching, the good moments and the bad moments, the peaks and the valleys, have all made it worth it. The privilege to have coached so many kids and worked with so many kids in this program that you normally would have never met if it wasn't for this program. The friends I've made that have been lifetime friendships have been incredible. Have we had our bad moments? Yeah. But the good moments are 10 times more than the bad moments. And the basketball is what we're here for. It brings us together. But when the basketball is done, having all these relationships long after basketball is finished in these girls' careers, and still being friends with them and their families, watching those girls now have families of their own, and allow me to share in those families' lives, their kids' lives, has been incredible. It really is. It's nothing that I ever dreamed of when I first had that team back in the spring of '96. And it's something that I don't take for granted. I try to give my best to everyone I can, as much as I can. There's only one me though, so I can't, do it so much in the program. But just know that it has changed my life for the positive. It's been something that, again, wasn't planned, but I'm sure glad it happened. and I'm looking forward to the next, hopefully 25, 26 years down the road. I hope that you, if you're a new parent, you enjoy the program. Hope if you're a veteran parent, you can pass on some knowledge to some newcomers. And just know that even though we do things differently here, which will be explained in the video as you go along, it's something that works. It's worked for a long time, and it's just, it really ends up being the best part of my day every day, being in here with your kids. So hopefully, if you missed the parent meeting, this video will be good for you. Help connect some dots, answer some questions that you have about how this program works, how the organization works. If you do come to the parent meeting and you forget some things, you can always go back to this video as a reference and say, okay, you know what, I missed it, but here's how this needs to be handled, or here's how this works, or whatever. And I think the more information you have, the better. Sometimes in this program you get a lot more information that you want on a weekly and a daily basis, but I feel like the more you know, the better things are for everyone. So again, welcome to the Steelers. Looking forward to looking forward to meeting a lot of you all who I haven't met yet, and hopefully your daughter has a great time in this program. The history of our program in relation to North Carolina AAU girls basketball goes back 26 years. We started in 1996 with one team when AAU had an East and West Division and a central office in Greensboro. Bill and Jean Christie were in charge of that central office, and they helped keep everyone organized. They made sure that everyone followed the rules, everyone basically stayed within their kind of territory area, and there was no recruiting going on. AAU was a lot of fun back then. It was a lot of fun. We all had our teams. Mount Airy had their team, Asheville had their teams, Hickory had their teams, we had our teams, Greensboro, Fayetteville, Raleigh. It was great. Charlotte had a big group of teams, and we would all have a central goal of playing in the regionals and trying to qualify our team out of regionals into states. And if you got out of states, you got to go to nationals. And only like 4 teams from the East and West got to go to the states. So it made things very competitive amongst all of our programs. And for 7 or 8 years there, it was the best thing in the world. It really was. You would practice your team all during the spring, maybe get to play in one invitational, because they didn't have the invitationals like they do today. We have one every weekend. It was basically 1, maybe 2 if you got lucky before you played in the regionals. And then your goal was to try to make it past Saturday night, because you made it past Saturday night, you got the states, and in states, you got a chance to play Division I, Division II nationals, depending on wherever you fell. But if you didn't make it out of regionals, your season was pretty much done. And those of the coaches that are watching this video know what Saturday night AAU was like back then. It was pretty much do or be done. So North Carolina AAU was great, but right around 2002, 2003, 2004, things started to change, and not for the best. And our program had to make some changes to try to get out ahead of that, because where North Carolina AAU was going at the time was not good. So I had the good fortune of meeting a young lady named Shantae Black in 1998. She was playing basketball at Wiley Middle School, which was right next door to Reynolds High School, when I was running one of my AAU practices over in the girls' gym / auxiliary gym. And Adrian Snow, who's now the football coach at West Forsyth, came over to me. He was a PE teacher at Wiley at the time. Came up to me and said, "Brian, you got to come down here and see this girl." I'm like, okay, I've heard this how many times now over the last 2 or 3 years that we've had this program. This is again in 1998. And he said, no, she's really good. You need to come see her. So I walked in the gym and I saw this 12-year-old about 6 foot tall. And I was like, wow. And she looked like she could play. And so introduced myself to her, invited her to come practice with us if she wanted to. And she did. And immediately you could tell she was going to be, you know, a major college prospect and potentially a professional. She was just athletic and long, but nice as can be. Nice kid. And again, that's where Shantae Black and I met. And it was something that changed our program in another direction. So, like I said, around 2003, 2004, right around when Shantae was graduating, North Carolina AAU was kind of falling apart. It wasn't as strong as it was a few years earlier. Bill Christie and Gene Christie did a couple of nice things for this program. In 2001, we were allowed to host the AAU Nationals for the 16 and under girls. And the 16 and under girls is basically the crown jewel of AAU basketball. We were allowed to, use all the different sites in the Triad area to host the Nationals. And we had every single college coach you could imagine here in Winston-Salem. It was a great thing for our program. Put our program on the map, and it allowed us, through some tricky times during that tournament, to become or be named the AAU National Volunteer Program of the Year. And that was a pretty great honor. A lot of the programs around us couldn't understand why we were allowed to host it, because they had been around here longer than we were. But Bill trusted our program. He said, you've got the people and you've got the foundation to do this, and we're going to give it to you. And we did it. 3 years later, we got it again. The AAU Nationals came back to Winston-Salem again, bigger, had 105 teams. It was 68 teams in 2001. It was 105 teams in 2004. And we hosted it again. Again, had every major college coach in Winston-Salem, 16 and under. And I couldn't have thanked Bill Christie more for allowing our program to be on a national spotlight like that. He wasn't done though. In 2005, he called me and said, I put your name in for USA Basketball. He said, I like the way the Steelers are being run, and before I get out of AAU, I want to make sure that you have this opportunity to maybe work for USA Basketball. So Carol Callan, who was the women's national director for USA Basketball, called me and asked me if I'd want to work for or be a coach at their last USA Olympic Festival. Now, of course, I jumped all over it, and that was the start of me and USA Basketball. But moved back a couple years earlier, right after the Nationals in 2004, when, again, AU was kind of going like this in North Carolina. There's no longer that central, guidelines and rules. Everybody's kind of going on their own, like the Wild Wild West. I chose, again, instead of going the super team route, I went this route and went on my own to a coaching clinic that USA Basketball was holding for every coach in the United States. It was in Colorado Springs. I flew out there on my own, and I figured when I got out there, there'd be hundreds of coaches out there. There are 30 coaches when I get there, 30. 29 from Colorado and myself. And at first I was a little disappointed, but then I was like, you know what? No one else was here. This is a chance for me to get ahead of everybody. This is a great opportunity for me. And so I met as many people as I could. I learned as much as I could about the USA Basketball process. And I think that's when Carol, who was working at the time out there, I think that's when she maybe made that call to Bill. And then next thing you know, this whole USA Basketball process started. And what USA Basketball has done for this program, even though people maybe can't see the immediate or direct value of it, is every time I've gone to something with USA Basketball, whether it has been Olympic Festival, which no longer exists back in '07. The Olympic Committee, where I help select the 16 and 17 under teams. And you're trying to get through 150 girls who are major college prospects and trying to get the 12 best to go play in a World Championship or a FIBA America's Championship, and they've got to win gold. You're picking the 3-on-3 teams. They've allowed me to be part of their legal committees, where I'm the only coach on there, and we're doing the process of, does this person deserve a gold license or not? The gold license that you register for now to get certified to be on the bench at tournaments. I was able to coach 2 years and go see the world and work with some of the best players in the United States at that time. This past summer, it was a last minute deal, but I had the opportunity to work at the actual Olympic or the pre-Olympic training camp in Las Vegas, as well as a 16 and under team that was going to go to Mexico. And the summer was really busy for me. But what it did was, the college coaches who I did not know, the ones who were brand new, when I got back, if I made a call to them and say, hey, Brian Robinson, I work at such and such, and then I put in there, but I also work for USA Basketball, and I did immediately, they respond back and says, wow, you work for USA Basketball, then you must have some credibility. You must be, legit. I don't know who you are yet. And again, you look at that when it comes versus this superpower stuff, which is now all over the place. Everybody's got all these shoe company teams and all this, and they're all trying to sell their kids to these college coaches. And when you're out there in USA Basketball, you're basically rubbing elbows with everybody out there in the college basketball world, in the professional basketball world, that's at the top. I mean, you're basically seeing them every single day. And you have to understand that you're part of a common goal, which is to make girls basketball better. And what happens is we have these conversations at USA Basketball. And the conversations is a lot of times about recruiting. And they say, not everyone can be Division I. But we get, the college coaches, we always get, all these phone calls from these same people saying, my kid's Division I, my kid's Division I. And then they kind of joke about the Twitter, saying like, everybody puts on Twitter, says, college coaches, you can't miss this kid. College coach, and they're like, it's just, it's something that I know I'm not going to do. And it's something that I know can't be done because of what I hear out there. And for those of you that want to know why I don't do it, this program, the Steelers, we have over 100 girls playing. If I was to say to a college coach on Twitter or post on Twitter, hey, this kid is a can't miss, well, what do the other 99 kids in the program think and their parents think? That they're not any good? And then if I do it for this one, I can do it for all other 99. And then I don't have time to do anything on the court with anyone because I'm sitting there behind the computer or my phone all day doing this. So they always tell me, the college coaches, they appreciate that we're not basically muddying up their day trying to sort through all this. And I still take it as a compliment when they say, hey, if you, Brian, or Coach Robinson email me or call me and say you have a kid, we're going to listen. And that makes me feel good because I know that holding true to something that maybe is not as popular as the world wants it to be right now, because the world is different, especially with college basketball recruiting. The fact that we're doing things this way and they still work today and there is value and credibility, that makes me feel good because it will be exhausting trying to basically post opinions about kids all day long. Whereas I'd rather do it in facts. Hey, this kid visited. This kid got an offer. This kid's doing well. Those are facts. We're not dealing with opinions of, hey, this kid is a can't miss. because it puts a kid in a bad spot, it puts our program in a bad spot, and it puts me in a bad spot. Whereas if I promote an 11th grader too much, then if I'm wrong, then the 4th grader coming up behind, the college coach won't listen to me, even if the 4th grader is really good, because they say, we know it, you're wrong on this one, we're not going to listen to you on that one. So the USA Basketball has just added another layer of credibility because of who I've been able to work with and who I've been able to meet at those levels. And again, the goal with USA Basketball was just trying to help our program from that standpoint. But what it also did for us was really help me get these girls ready, if they want to be ready, for that next level. So back to USA Basketball and the next level. So again, you think about the core philosophy of the Steelers, trying to get the girls better for their school teams. Well, now USA Basketball has allowed me to see the best coaches in not just America, but in the world, work with their teams and work with individuals. And I'm talking about like the professional coaches, the NBA coaches, the WNBA coaches, some of the top college coaches, some of the top high school coaches. And I believe you can learn something from everyone. You can take something from everyone and help your girls or your programs get better. So what I would do is I would say, okay, you know what? Here I am working with 12 of the best 16 or 17 under girls in the United States high school kids. And if it works for them, I can take some of that back, tailor it to our 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade girls. And if they're willing to listen and they're willing to work, then I can help them reach a level past high school. Now, maybe they're not going to play at the top colleges in America, top basketball schools, but they can be a little bit better than they were maybe projected to be if they didn't work at all. And I can help them maybe reach that next level. And if not, they'll be better for their high school teams. And so it's a privilege that a lot of coaches, high school and AAU coaches, don't get on a annual basis. To be able to be in that USA Basketball environment and see what the highest level is, because there's nothing higher than USA Basketball. There's nothing. And again, to bring it back to our program is unique, because a lot of programs don't get to be a part of that. And instead of going out and collecting the best players to make a super team, why not just get your players and make them better? Some don't understand that it is a trick to be patient with that, because this is not going to be microwave basketball where, hey, you know what? Boom, you're on the court. Hey, I'm better. No, it doesn't work like that. It takes time. And those who come to our camps that we run, they come to the clinics where we have all the national guys and national girls and national trainers come in and teach them something. Those who, and it's hard with me because I'm so busy, I'm going all over the place all the time, but if you can do skills, maybe twice a month, at least get in some type of routine, or take those skills that you worked on with me and go out and work on them on your own. Those things add up over time. I'll use an example of Ellie Sutphin. Ellie played from the time she was 6th grade on to she graduated in this program. Ellie would find time, whether it be 6 o'clock in the morning or 8 p.m. at night, she would find a way to get a skill session in, at least once a week. It wasn't convenient, but she understood to be great, it can't be convenient. And so if she wanted to work, we would work. And we would spend pretty much the first 30 minutes of that hour doing routine stuff. I mean, we had a certain routine we would go through, certain dribble moves, certain footwork moves, and they'd all finish with some type of shot, some type of finish. Then 20 minutes of the session would be working on just catching and shooting. Then 5 minutes would be maybe working on some specialty moves. And the other 5 minutes of shooting free throws. It's pretty simple. And some people look at that and say, oh, that's boring. That's, we can't make a highlight mixtape to that. This wasn't about making highlight mix. Again, I go back to the point about muddying up these college coaches' days by sending all these highlight mixtapes, whatever. Doing the boring stuff well made her great. And because whatever she was lacking, maybe in speed, maybe even in height, you could help those deficiencies a little bit by doing certain things a certain way. And she understood if I took a month off of skills, it's gonna take me 2 months to get back to that starting point where we just began. So she would make it a point to try to come in as much as she could and try to get better. Lauren Bevis. Lauren, same thing. She would come at 5:30 in the morning and figure it out. So you know what, that's the time I can get in, let's work. And she would come in and she would work. And there's, kid after kid after kid after kid after kid after kid. And all I would do is take what I learned from my personal knowledge and then supplement that with all the things I was learning from USA Basketball and put it together and then try to get that player better with the sole purpose again of trying to get her better for her high school team. And then once that happened, if they had some talent, some gifts, physical gifts like height, speed, whatever, then they can maybe take that on and go on to play ball after high school. So USA Basketball has done a lot for this program. Again, a lot of people can't see the direct, result from it because it takes time. And USA Basketball is always saying, they're very deliberate about how they do things, and I can see why. And being a good basketball player, unless you just have a lot of gifts, good basketball players, it takes time to develop them. And again, I think that's why we have so many kids. We have over 170 kids that have gone on to play ball in college. And every last one of them, they've all gone their different paths. And a lot of them, it's taken a lot of time to get them there. You knew it was there if they were just patient. And again, I really thank the opportunity that I was given with USA Basketball for setting that table. And again, not just helping with the skills part, but also helping with the credibility when it came to, hey, I can pick up the phone and make a phone call and boom, I can get the college coach and they'll immediately respond because there is credibility there versus the rest, 90% of the world doing, she's great, whatever. Again, it's different, but it works. And it still works to this day. As stated, in 2002, 2003, two things were going on. AAU, as I said, was starting to splinter a little bit. North Carolina AAU was not what it was 3 or 4 years ago. Bill and Jean were starting to slowly ease out of the program. And what took place was all the programs around the state, you could see them starting to make their own move. And one thing that happened was there was about 13 or 14 programs, teams, whatever you want to call them, across the state, that try to get together and get the best players from each team to play on a couple of superpower teams. And their goal was to play in front of college coaches. You had other programs like ours who said, no, we're going to stay true to what we're doing. Our goal is to help kids get better for their high school teams. And we're not going to go after this superpower deal because we're not trying to get a shoe company to sponsor us. We're not trying to get, our team to become a superpower. We just want our program to give kids the opportunity to get better. And we stayed true to that. Well, a lot of the programs that got together started criticizing our program because you're not going to last. That's not going to work. And at the same time, we had Shantae Black. And Shantae was a top 20 player in the United States. And naturally, all those programs try to come after Shantae. And they told Shantae's mom, hey, we know what it takes to get a kid to play Division I level college basketball. We know what it takes. And they were trying to sell that to all the kids that they were recruiting to come to play in their program. Well, Shantae's mom said, we're not leaving. We played with this program since we were 12, or since Shantae was 12 years old. We're not leaving. And we enjoy what we're doing here. So as Shantae kept going, kept progressing over the years, I had the opportunity to talk to pretty much every major Division I college basketball coach in America. Shantae's mom was getting overwhelmed with it. She was a single mom. She worked the third shift. And so I basically had to arrange all of the home visits for Shantae, handle all of her phone calls, and basically take over the recruiting process for her. And so when it came time for the home visits, we met at Shantae's mom's house, and I had the wonderful privilege of being in the house, right, like basically you to me, with Gino Auriemma, Pat Summit, Sue Gunter, who was the head coach at LSU at the time, Jody Conrad, who was at Texas, Andy Landers, who was at Georgia, Gail Gussencourse, who was at Duke, and just keep naming the coaches. They all came through the door, one in Shantae. And it was just Shantae's mom, Maisie, Shantae, Catherine Lyons' mom, Sheila, who made dinner for all the coaches when they came in because Maisie didn't have time to make dinner, and then the college coaches and myself. And so I asked the college coaches, after we got through Shantae's process of, the recruiting spiel and everything they give to her, I asked them, I said, let me ask you something. What are y'all looking for in basketball players when you recruit them? Because I'm hearing all this from these coaches, from these AU coaches over here. And they gave me point by point what they're looking for in a Division I basketball player at that level. And I wrote everything down. When all the home visits were done, I took all my notes, compiled them, and started coming up with a little tier system. I said, well, 9 out of 10 coaches said if you're this tall, you're probably going to play at their level. 7 out of 10 coaches said if you can shoot like at this kind of a rate, you're probably going to play at their level. And so it ended up, tallying all the numbers up. And when I ended up with all the points, it ended up being 292. So I named the program 292. And when Shantae made her decision, and she ended up going to Duke, I said, I'm trying to help out other kids in the program. Because now I've been to the top of the college basketball world. Let me see if I can help out the other kids in the program who are not 6'5" and super athletic like Shantae. So I developed the 292 program, and when the core principles, the main principles, that is, this is not a marketing program. This is not a program where I go out and try to sell you to a college coach. And this came from talking to all these major college coaches, where at the time the social media was not what it is today, but they were getting phone call after phone call after phone call, some emails at the time about, hey, this kid is a can't miss, this kid can't, and they told me that they just laugh at those. They said they go see the kids play. They do all the research they can on every kid they possibly can do research on, and they know where these kids are. And yeah, there's every once in a while, there's that one that may slip through, but then they trust people who have credibility. And they said all these folks that are doing all these, hey, I got this kid, she's Division I, and they watch him play and she's not, they lose credibility like that. And so I try to stay quiet and watch the landscape of the college basketball world, and then I take the kids that are in the 292 program and I try to send video, try to send notes, and say, hey, here's what I think of this kid. Take a look at her, see what you think, and then when we get to play in these events where you can watch them play, tell me what you think and see if they fit. And the program started to grow. And the credibility that was built from what I was sending out and what the college coaches were getting back really helped a lot of our kids. We ended up, in a span of 3 or 4 years, end up getting like 30 kids in the college, a lot of them to the D1 level. But a lot of it's because I wasn't going to basically try to blow up the college coach's head or try to fool them. This is what the kid is. I think I can get her better by doing work on the floor, skill work, which is back to the core principle of get them better for their high school team. If you get them better for a high school team and they have some talent, they can probably play ball at the next level. And so that principle worked, and it worked for and it still works today. And so that was the start of the 292 program. Nothing has changed with the 292 program from then till now. It's not a marketing program. I try to help navigate through the college basketball world. I put the kids in position at tournaments for them to get seen. As much video as I can gather from parents, I will send out. But I will not, today's world, I will not use Twitter or Facebook or Instagram to make opinions about kids. Okay, I'm really more so about facts. And the college coaches seem to really, really appreciate our program. You know, had a choice way back when to join the shoe company crew, and I didn't. And to this day, I'm thankful because the relationships that we've built over time have allowed us to sustain this and do this our way, which may be different, but just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. Okay, it's different than the world right now, but when a phone call is made or email is sent, more often than not, I'll get a response back from the coach saying, okay, if you say this kid can probably play here, we'll take a look. And once they take a look, it's out of my hands. I don't work for the colleges. They make those decisions, not me. An example of the 292 program and how it works, a recent example, would be the additional exposure team that I offered to the entire program in November, December of 2020. The team was going to play, or the teams, I offered multiple teams, the teams were going to play in the spring of 2021, and I was going to coach them. Part of the reason why I wanted to coach is the 25th anniversary of the program, and the other reason is I just felt like I could help out the girls by giving them an extra tournament or two to play in front of college coaches. So the tournament unfortunately got postponed or canceled in the spring of 2021 because of COVID. The Deep South Classic, which we go to pretty much every year, some Brandon Clay events that we usually go to, they all got postponed, and so we had to basically reschedule a lot of things and put the additional exposure team on hold. So by the time we got to July of 2021, we had a tournament in Louisville, the Run for the Roses, scheduled, which I was going to coach, and we were going to start practicing at the end of May, first part of June, all the way through June to get ready for the event. Well, USA Basketball called, and I had to go to Indianapolis with the U16 team and put all of our practices on hold for that group. However, I still did my work through the 292 program to get the girls in position for the college coaches to know where they were playing and when they were playing. So when the schedule came out, I made sure that all the colleges that the girls had told me they were interested in, they knew where our team was going to be playing. So the way the 292 program works, one of the pieces is the girls get a list, an A list, a B list, a C list, 5 schools in under each letter of the schools they're interested in. They list them out to me, and then I take those schools, and when we're ready to play in an exposure event, I email those schools and say, hey, if you have time, please come watch this kid play. Tell me what you think, and then we'll go from there. So I emailed, I think between the 12 players that we had on the team at the time, there were 63 different schools. So I emailed all 63 once the schedule came out, let them know, hey, here's where we're playing. And when I got back from Indianapolis, we basically only had one practice. But I knew the girls on that team were serious about basketball. I knew they're going to work away from just a regular team practice. I was gone most of June, again with USA Basketball, and so I wasn't really worried too much about the girls staying in condition, working out on their own, because I knew, it looks like they knew, like everybody in the program knows, July's coming, and July is a big time for everybody that's interested in playing ball in college. So it's not like it was a big surprise. I knew they'd be ready. So when I got back, we had one practice, and then we're off to Louisville. And when we got to Louisville, we had our first actual team practice, an hour on the court, or one of the courts in Kentucky, and then we played that evening. Now there are 60, 70, 80 plus courts in the Kentucky Expo Center. Those of y'all who played in it know. And there's all these games going on, all these college coaches walking around, and how in the world are they going to pick our court to come watch kids play? So when it was time for the college coaches to come out, they already had the email from me. A lot of them had responded back saying, if we're in Kentucky, we'll come watch if we have time. We have a lot of other kids we need to watch. Some of the college coaches knew our reputation of having players that could play at their level. So they already said, we will be there. Then you had the ones who didn't know me, but knew that I was working with USA Basketball. So they said, well, you must be legit because you're working for that organization. So we'll definitely come stop by and watch your kids play. And then others said, again, if we have time, we'll be by. So we play our first couple games. We have maybe 10 to 15 coaches there. And as we are playing and winning, we're winning the first game by 2, won the second game by 1 in overtime, won the next game by about 10, and then we played the fourth game, the first game of bracket play, and we had, I think the count was, according to the parents that were there, I think we had anywhere between 29 and 36 college coaches at our game. The majority of those coaches were the folks that I emailed and said, just come watch us play. Now, we had 11 players at the event. The 12th one couldn't make it. And then we ended up with 10 because one got injured. And so I started the same lineup every game and kept the same rotations pretty much because I felt like the girls would be comfortable with the same rotation, knowing kind of when they're going to get in, when they're going to play, kind of what their role is. And we ended up winning that game by 1 point. And the girls were getting a lot of exposure. We played our fifth game. We lost, unfortunately, and got knocked out, but some college coaches were there as well. So out of those 36 coaches that came pretty much to that one game, I think we had 16 or 17 Division I coaches, and the rest were D2, D3. And throughout the tournament, we had somewhere in the range of probably about 22 to 23 Division I coaches come watch us play. Now, again, it's the Division coaches' job, Division I coaches through Division III, it's their job to see if the girls that play for us fit what they want. All I can do is coach my team, put them in the best positions to try to play well and win, which we did, and then they make those decisions. But the 292 program, what I do is try to make the coaches aware of where we are. And again, when you're playing a big tournament like we played in, where there's upwards of 60 and 70 and 80 courts, and all these teams played at one time, to have 30 or more coaches at your game, when they have all the other choices to go to, speaks well of the program's reputation, of having the extra credibility, which is USA Basketball on top of that, and then the fact that they trust us. If they found someone they liked, great. If they didn't, so be it. But at least they came and took a look. And I'm hoping that as we go along through this next year, it will give our girls an opportunity, because now they laid the foundation for hopefully 2022 coming up. And the college coaches at least are aware of them and know kind of what their game is like. So that's pretty much how the 292 programs works. Again, I didn't promise the girls anything, their parents anything. I didn't promise or blow up the coaches in any way whatsoever, saying, hey, you know what? These kids are this. I just said, look, just come watch us play. This girl's interested in your school. If you think she's a fit, let me know. If she's not, so be it. If you need to watch her more, so be it. And that's pretty much how we've worked all these years. And I think that builds the trust, it builds a good relationship, and allows our girls to continue to be seen over and over, because, again, we are not providing a lot of opinions. We're just providing, hey, here's the facts. Game time, game site, here's where we are, tell me what you think. And again, for The team that played in that event, I thought it went really well for them. Again, to go 4-1 in an event like that is great, but the amount of college coaches they got to see them play was incredible, and that's how our 292 program works. So this is the Mad Dog Center. We were fortunate to come into this place in June of 2020. In March of 2020, right around when COVID was starting to really spread across the state and the nation, all our practice sites were basically shut down. And so we had to find somewhere to keep this program going. And I was turned on to this place by a parent who said, you know, there's a old event center on the old campus, old Dudley campus in Kernersville. You might want to look at it. So I came over here, and long story short, it's a 30-acre campus, and I'll show you all the different parts here in a minute. But the campus was going to be sold as just one part, and I didn't want the whole campus. I just wanted this place. And so when we got into negotiations, they first turned me down and said, no, you need to buy the whole campus. Eventually, in May, they said, you know what, we did a lot of research on your program, about you, and we think that you all would be a good fit here. So how about we give you a couple years lease and do what you want to in this program. And so all the goals, all the gold and the green paint, the logos, the floor, everything, the bleachers, everything is something that we've added to this facility. We got the big goals on the side right when we opened, but the arm, as you see, was too big, so they came onto the middle of the floor, so it didn't really fit. So we put them on the sides here, and it works really well for our younger kids when we play cross court. The smaller goals here, we got a couple weeks before we opened, and they served us well. Obviously, we needed bigger backboards, but for what we were doing at the time, it worked. The bigger goals on the main court, we got back in the summer of 2021. We were going to get them earlier, but there were some things going on campus, on this campus at the time, that we weren't sure if we were going to be able to keep this place open or not. And so through the town of Kernersville and the owners working together, not our doing, it's something going on the other side of campus, we were allowed to keep going. The facility was doing something great for both the city, or the town of Kernersville, and this area. And so the last thing I wanted to do was buy some new goals, and then they tell us, you know, we have to shut the place down, and then the next thing you know, where I'm going to put brand new goals. I don't want to put them in storage, and so I waited for a while and then got the goals. But walking around the Mad Dog Center, we've done a lot in here, and it's been a privilege to be a part of this, in my opinion. We have new lighting in here. We haven't added all the lights in yet, but we have some new LED lights, which has been great for our program. We've been able to add outdoor lighting, exterior lighting, which right now aren't on, but it makes the whole area out here a lot brighter at night. So when we have kids waiting for their parents to pick up, it's not as dark. We've added security cameras, which are on the walls up there. I believe you can see them now. And it allows me to at least keep an eye on things when I'm not here. And we've done some work to the bathrooms, put some new toilets in, stalls in, and have new doors coming for the women's bathrooms as well, which is great. The eventual goal for me is to try to add some outdoor sports. So I'd like to add soccer eventually, and hopefully some lacrosse out here in the back. I do want to put maybe an outdoor court out here somewhere, and make this into a nice little sports complex, hopefully for the Triad area. But so far, the Mad Dog Center in itself has been great for our program. We opened it again in the middle of COVID, so when everyone else was shut down, all the programs around us were shut down, we kept going. We had to modify some things. We had to make sure that things are being as safe as possible for everyone during the COVID era, and it's still going. I know it's still going, but we kept going. And a lot of people took advantage of that fact that we were still going because they had nowhere else to go. And so for that fact, I'm very thankful to be here. I'm thankful for the growth of this facility in just the last year and a half. I'm thankful to a lot of parents who have put a lot into this facility and the grounds area around it. I'm thankful for a lot of our alums who have done a lot of wonderful things for this facility as well. A lot of them are up there on the wall right there. And it's been a blessing. It really has. And I've learned to take things very slow. Things will come as they need to be, or they need to. I don't need to rush into things. But I have a vision for this whole campus, and hopefully, it'll come true someday. We'll see. But for those of y'all that are brand new to the program, we're located at 900 East Mountain Street in Kernersville. We're Building E, and this is our home. This is our blessing box on the campus of the old Dudley property on 900 East Mountain Street. The blessing box was put together by one of our alums, Elaine Smith, as well as Kara Stansel, who also played and graduated from our program. And the blessing box was something that we wanted to do to help out the community. We felt like, there's a lot more going on than basketball, obviously, in this world. And to keep teaching or trying to teach life lessons to our kids, it's important to have something that they can contribute to. They can just drop by, put some food in, and then drive down our driveway to our facility, which is back there in the back of the white building, the Mad Dog Center. So when you stop by, feel free to drop some non-perishable good in our blessing box. Again, you never know who it may affect. You never know who you may be helping. It may be somebody you just never know. But again, it's something that we thought we could do that would be nice. Again, very anonymous for the community, and something that I know has been of value because every day I come by, it seems like it's empty, and then we try to restock it the next day. So thanks in advance for anything you can do to help out our blessing box. So with our program rules and policies, you can visit our website, thewinston-salemsteelers.com, and familiarize yourself with all of them. All you have to do is go below the logo on the left-hand page, click Home. There'll be a scroll out. I think it's the second one down. It says Program Rules and Policies, and you can just read about basically what makes our organization stay pretty much under control. We have a lot of rules, but the rules are very easy to follow. They're basically put in place to minimize drama. You didn't sign up for this program to deal with a lot of drama, a lot of nonsense, and we've had these rules in place for 20 plus years. The biggest rules to follow are, if you leave the program, you can't come back. The reason for that is it causes too many issues when someone leaves the program and then says, well, if that didn't work out, can I come back and join your program again? No, we can't have all in and out. So that's one of the main reasons we don't allow for you to come back once you leave us. The second biggest rule is the 24-hour one, where if you're at a tournament and you're concerned about your daughter's playing time or their starting spot, which we don't really have starters in the programs, we have players, but sometimes people believe that you have certain starters for games. If you're concerned about coaching decisions, we don't talk to the coach after the game. Games are emotional, and what happens is you say things that you normally wouldn't say in just a normal conversation. So, and it works that way for the coach too. Coach might say some things that he or she doesn't mean because they're emotional depending on what the result of the game was. So 24-hour rule, leave the coach alone after the game. Send them an email if you're concerned about something, and you're to meet face-to-face the next week in practice to talk about whatever it is you need to talk about. We do not talk about another person's kids in the meeting. because they're not there to defend themselves. We do not allow for cursing or personal attacks on our coaches or vice versa. If that happens, the meeting is over, and we'll talk about what needs to be done to help your daughter achieve whatever she's trying to achieve. And that's it. Meeting straightforward. Just know that you cannot ask for a meeting every single week after a tournament. We're not going to do that. And we do not do meetings or discussions through text or through phone calls. The reason why, or emails, the reason why is because that's coaches' time away from practice, away from tournaments, and they need some time for themselves, for their families or whatever. And a lot of times emails and texts can be misconstrued, and so we don't do things that way. And hey, can I have 5 minutes of your time on the phone? No, that 5 minutes always turns into 25 or 30 or 45 minutes, and we're not going to do that for our coaches. So just understand how those two works, as well as the rest of the rules in our program. So with our team parents are vital as far as passing information along to our parents on the teams. Our team parents basically are the bridge from me to your team. So I will send out basically a program email once or twice a week, just giving updates on what is going on in the program, and if there's any changes, any camps, anything going on that needs to be addressed. And then from that, it'll go to the team parent. A team parent will then shoot it out to the parents on the team. One thing that needs to be very clear to everyone is that if you have an issue, a playing time issue, a practice issue, a starting spot issue, a program issue, whatever it is, you do not email a team parent that issue. They don't handle that. It's kind of like going over the little speed bump at the rental car place where there's one way in, but if you go out the other way, it doesn't work. And so it's the same way with this. Information goes out, but you're not to use the team parent to send information back. If you have an issue, you send it directly to me or to the coach, depending on what the issue is. But you don't involve the team parent that way, because the team parent has no idea what's going on sometimes. On that note, it's very important that the team parent takes the job with the specific idea or the specific premise of, I'm not doing this because I'm trying to get my daughter playing time or special treatment. I'm doing this because I want to help my team get information, and that's it. And so you have to be very careful that if your daughter is not playing a lot, is not starting, that you do not take a team parent job, because we have, unfortunately, in the past, have team parents just stop in the middle of the season because their daughter wasn't playing a whole lot, or the daughter wasn't starting, or daughter wasn't getting enough shots or whatever. So please understand that the team parent role is not to give your daughter special treatment. And on that note, with any issues or problems that occur, just know that we're going to handle them very quickly and very swiftly. We don't let things sit and stir and bubble up, and next thing you know, it becomes a big problem in the program. We have a board that handles a lot of these things for us, and most times I can handle it myself, but if it gets beyond me, then the board handles it as well. And the board is made up of a lot of alum parents who just love the program and want to still be a part of it and understand how things have worked in the past. And again, everything comes full circle. A lot of the problems that you have today happened 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 20 years ago. So they've seen a lot of the problems. What we do not do is we do not have group parent meetings. Okay, that's one thing we stopped a ways back. And the reason why is a lot of times there's a parent with an issue, but the parent doesn't want to bring the issue directly to the board or to myself because they don't want to look like they're the one causing the problem. So what they do is they gather a couple other parents with them, stir them up, and they say, can we meet? When these parents really don't have an issue in the program, maybe their dog, maybe the other, like parent A has a problem with their kid's playing time, and then parent B, their kid might not be playing as much, but understand what's going on. But parent A tries to bring them in and says, your dog's not playing either, and gets that parent all stirred up, and then looks for the next parent to try to bring them in and make it look like it's a big group problem, when a lot of times it isn't. And so what we tell parents is, if you have a problem, you come directly to us. Don't go to the coaches. Don't go to other parents. Come directly to us. Because the way our organization is, our organization is very tight. And pretty much the 4th grade parents know the 11th grade parents, because I let the kids work together, coach each other in this organization. And so everybody kind of knows everyone. And a lot of times when one parent tries to start something up, it gets back to me or our coaches really quickly, because someone will know someone who will know someone in the program, and then next thing you know, okay, we know what the source is. So again, we try to minimize drama in this program. It's going to happen. We're not a perfect program by no means, but at the same time, we understand things are going to happen. When you have 100 plus people in a program, it's bound to happen. What needs to happen, though, is there's a chain of command on how you need to handle things. And if you decide to go away from that chain of command, it's usually going to start some issues that don't need to be started. So just be careful of that as you go along this season. Again, we want you to enjoy this season and have a good time with it. But we've always found out the best way to handle things is to go directly to the source and not try to work your way around it and get other people stirred up unnecessarily, which causes more problems in the program. Practices. We try to have all of our teams practice twice a week. Some teams will go once a week, maybe a little bit longer, but for the most part, we just go twice a week, probably an hour and 15 minutes per practice, and try to get as much teamwork, team concepts as we can. There'll be some skills in practices here and there, but for the most part, it's just teamwork. We have skill sessions, individuals and groups, and we have teach the game for individual improvement. For the most part, with your teams, you're doing your team practices. Practice March, April, May. We work around the holidays, and in June, pretty much our rising 9th graders through rising 12th graders don't practice. We have a lot of respect for our local high school programs, and we do not want to interfere with high schools' team camps, summer league games. You also have graduations, you have proms, and you have exams going on typically at that time. So we give the month of June off. We've always given the month of June off. And if coaches can find a way to get their teams together in June for maybe a practice or two before they play in July, then they can do so. But it usually is impossible to do that. It is a trick to try to stay in shape, but a lot of times you find out the kids who really want to have that opportunity of playing well in July, they'll find ways to keep themselves going in June when their team is not practicing. And so please remember that as we go through the season. The majority of our 9th through 12th grade teams, the national teams, they will not practice during that month because of the reasons I just stated. And again, it's been a rule that we've always had, and high school coaches really do appreciate it, because now the girls don't have to choose between this program and their high school program. And whether they like one over the other, it's very clear that their choice is to go with their high school program, and it makes things easier for everybody. And there's not a lot of questions that had to be asked.
Hi, I'm Izzy Henshaw, Chrissy Henshaw's mom. Go Winston-Salem Steelers. Chrissy started in the organization when she was in the 7th grade in elementary school, and it was a learning experience. In the 7th grade, she was about 5'10", and Coach Robinson saw a lot of potential in her. And starting the organization, they didn't get to play in a lot of tournaments the first year, but her second year, they played a lot of tournaments, and she got better as the program went on because of Coach Robinson's dedication. He worked well with all the younger girls starting out. And I think probably Chrissy's career in college sports would have turned out to be basketball had she have had a stable high school coach. She played for 4 years and had a different coach every year. But she learned so much from Coach Robinson, not just basketball, but dealing with situations, team members, just a real good learning experience. Not like many of the coaches that we have today. Chrissy played for Coach Robinson through her high school year. And as a parent, it was expensive endeavor, but it was a very good learning situation for her and for us as a family, because the Steelers organization, we did a lot of things together. We didn't get to do a lot of fundraisers to start out, but we did start doing some things a little later on, raising money, new uniforms, all that kind of stuff. And I'm so proud now that Coach Robinson has the doghouse, that the kids can go and he can work with a lot of different kids. Chrissy, her basketball skills really, really developed. She ended up being 6'3" her senior year in high school, and was really excited about basketball. Coach Robinson sent off a lot of tapes. She had a lot of college offers, but her love was volleyball. And she went on to play college as an athlete, and I think because of the agility and the skills that Coach Robinson taught her in basketball, helped her in volleyball as an athlete. Good luck to the Winston-Salem Steelers. I'm happy to hear good things from you, and there's nobody like Coach Robinson. Thanks.
The Winston-Salem Steelers means everything to me. I cannot say enough good things about it. It made me to the person who I am today. It taught me how to be a good teammate, be a good winner, how to be a good loser, how to be calm in a stressful situation, and how to take each hardship or moment that comes at you with patience and understanding and just a good attitude to get through that situation. And I use those traits every day in my life. The Steelers brought me to college and helped me get there and set me up for success for life. And I attribute it all to the program that Coach Robinson has built and the people that he brings to the program. And I can not say enough good things about it. It is a staple in my childhood, and I still have friends from the program 12 years ago that I left 12 years ago. And I just love it, and I cannot say enough good things about it. It changed my life and changed it for the better, and I will never forget the Winston-Salem Steelers.
Under the program rules and policies page is our Steelers for Life rules and policies page. You can scroll out from that one to go to that one. And basically Steelers for Life is what it means. You're Steelers for life. And if you decide to move on to another program after being part of the Steelers for Life program, there are certain guidelines you have to follow in order to get a refund. It's spelled out on our website, and if it's something that you're interested in being part of the program, just email me, let me know. Periodically we get an offer from an alum to sponsor one of these programs, so every once in a while we'll have something available for families, and when we do have something available, I will email the program to let them know, hey, this is opportunity is open if you want it. So we started this program about 16, 17 years ago. It went really well. We didn't have it for about 12 years, and then I brought it back maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, and the families have really appreciated it, because I understand travel ball is very expensive, especially at the older age groups, and anything I do to cut down on costs for you and your family, I'll do throughout the program. And so Steelers for Life has been a big hit, and I'm glad we continue to do it for you and your families. So the Teach the Game program came about a few years ago, and what I want to do is I want to develop a program that will work just on skills, footwork, ball handling, passing, shooting, help young kids learn how to play the game. There are plenty of programs where you can just play. Even the Steelers, we have the 2 practices a night and play a tournament on the weekends, like every other weekend. We have that. We also have the Teach the Game program, which allows players who don't want to play as much to learn how to play the game. And that program has really grown, and it's really been a benefit to a lot of kids in this program, and I hope we can continue to grow the program every year. So if you're kind of curious what the difference between Steelers and Teach the Game is, the Steelers are basically practice twice a week with your team, working on team concepts, and then go play in tournaments. The Teach the Game program is basically work on your skills and your fundamentals in a group setting, and then eventually play in a controlled environment, either against other Teach the Game members or maybe in a tournament, to see if you can apply those skills that we're working on. Now, we've added the CRC program, and the CRC program basically is another step or another layer to the Teach the Game program. You're kind of combining the Steelers and Teach the Game together. So the CRC is another level where I give direct feedback evaluations to kids. I used to do that with the 292 program for travel teams, but the last couple of years with COVID, really haven't gotten back into that. I need to get back into that again, and hopefully I will this year in 2022. But with the CRC program, I can give the kids basically weekly and monthly feedback from all the practices we have. We don't play as much, but we do play tournaments. We spend more time practicing and getting better because, again, the whole key is I don't want people leaving this program not any better than they started. I think, again, I've been fortunate to be around the world of basketball, and I think I have a lot to offer a lot of folks. And I try to tailor that CRC program to help certain kids in certain areas to try to make them better. So the CRC program is something brand new. If you want to look at it, all the information is on the website. And again, it's something that, again, I've been very privileged to be able to offer, and I think a lot of kids have benefited from it already. With our social media accounts, what we try to do is we're very specific about what we will and what we won't post on sites. We try not to post too many individual accolades if possible. Now, if someone commits to a school, if someone does something outstanding at a camp, then we'll definitely post that. But if there are, for instance, you do something at your school, we don't post because we don't want to try to promote one high school or one middle school over another. Rarely do we post anything from schools on our Steelers accounts or Teach the Game accounts. What we do is we try to show the activities that we do on a daily basis and then give results from tournaments where our teams are playing at, as long as the team parents or coaches are sending us that information. If the team parents and coaches are not sending us that information, we have no idea, if we're not there, how the teams are doing. So we will need the team parents and or coaches to send us as much as possible when the tournament is done. We use our college coaching account, as I stated earlier in the video, to provide information for college coaches, but we try to form opinions by saying, hey, this kid is this and this kid is that. We just post, their accurate information or as close to accurate information as possible, along with the video, if they send us a video, so that the college coach can have access to, and then let them decide if that player is something that maybe interests them for their program. But our social media accounts are, they're pretty active. If you follow them, you'll pretty much see something going on a daily basis. And I think, the way we view social media is it can be a detriment to a lot of folks and to a lot of programs, but with us, we try to use it as a positive and post as many positive things as possible for our families. And again, it's a way of information. For instance, if we have, a practice change or a game tournament time change or whatever, we can post it on there as well for families that maybe missed a phone call or missed a text message from someone, but they may have picked this up on social media and said, okay, you know what, this got changed. So we try to use that social media as a helpful tool for all of our families.
When I think of the Winston-Salem Steelers, I think of an organization that was built on integrity, organization that was built on respect. It is an organization that not only set the blueprint for my basketball career, but also set the blueprint for other AAU organizations in Winston-Salem in North Carolina. Just to reflect on my experience with the Steelers, I have made so many friendships, so many connections that will last a lifetime, and I'll forever be grateful for that. To be a part of an organization that not only helps young girls further their basketball career, helps young girls become young adults, it is in the community doing work, helping other people. And I think that's one of the most important things that I've taken away from my experience, just because when it's all said and done, it's our work that'll speak for us. I'm so blessed and so thankful for the Steelers, and I'm just looking forward to the many, many years to come.
Hi, my name is Lauren LaPlante. I am a class of 2016 Steelers alum. I played with the Steelers from the age of 8 all the way through high school. The Steelers mean so much to me because it was really the most influential part of my basketball upbringing. The Steelers helped shape my skill set and develop me as a player early on in my career, and it provided me with the exposure that I needed to make it to the next level. So the Steelers was really crucial to my college recruitment, and it helped me fulfill my dream of playing Division I basketball. And even now in my career, playing professionally overseas, I still think I have the Steelers to thank for helping me get this far, since that's really where it all started. I'm very thankful for all my years within the Steelers program. I met some great people, made some lifelong friends through my Steelers teammates, and I received some of the best coaching that I've had in my whole career within the Steelers organization. So I really think that the Steelers program is special in that it's able to provide so many opportunities for young players and really open doors for their future in basketball. So I feel very privileged to be one of the many athletes to benefit from a program as great as the Steelers. And I'm so thankful to have this program still supporting me even now as an alum, and to have Coach R as a mentor and as a resource even now is such a great privilege. So I hope to one day be able to give back to the Steelers program, as it has provided me with so much over the years.
On that note, with our team uniforms, our regular uniforms, those uniforms are the organization's property. You'll get them when the season starts, and you'll return them at the end of the season. We do have a uniform contract, which you sign, and that way if you damage a uniform, you lose a uniform, or you decide not to turn your uniform in, you have a fee to pay. That way we can keep control of our uniforms. And we have had parents in the past want to or willing to sponsor their team's uniforms. They want to buy new uniforms for their daughter's team. And so we're fortunate now that we have an alum named Brittany Wall who runs the OG print shop locally, and so she does our uniforms for us now. And so once the parent or parents decide, hey, we want to sponsor uniforms for our daughter's team, I'll put you in contact with Brittany, and then Brittany works with you about how to get the uniforms ordered and whatnot. So if that's something that interests you as a parent, let me know. I can put you in touch with Brittany, and then what we'll do is we'll make sure that the uniform matches our style. You can get the sizes you want, the uniform numbers you want, and if you want shooting shirts on top of that, you can. I know, for instance, every year the Grant team gets new shooting shirts, and they seem to be like one of the only teams to do that. And so if your team wants shooting shirts, on top of that, again, it's something you have to go through Brittany, and she'll help you out. And I'll give you that contact information if you contact me. How have we survived for 27 years through what sometimes is a chaotic AAU world? A lot of it is just consistency and staying true to our core values, which is we started this program to help kids get better for their school teams. Simple as that. Some kids need to try to make their middle school team, to make their JV high school team, to maybe make their varsity high school team. And we started the program in '96 for that reason, and we've stayed true to that. And we felt like everything else, whether it's college basketball opportunities at the Division I, Division II, Division III levels, or JUCO, whatever level it is, NAIA, all those will take care of itself if the player gets better. She hasn't put the time in to get better, whether it's through individual skills, group skills, coming in here or somewhere else on her own and getting some shots up, working on her game, working on her ball handling, passing, footwork, pretty much everything that needs to be done to be a better basketball player. She has to put the time in. I feel like, the players that love to be in here, that aren't dragged in here, but love to be a part of this, are the ones that will find a way to make this work, regardless of the talent level. I feel like not one size fits all. Some kids need a little more time to develop than others, and so you just remind yourself to stay patient with everyone. And as long as the parents stay patient, the kids will slowly continue to get better. And it takes time. It's not microwave basketball. I've said this before. You don't punch it in, punch it out, and all of a sudden, a minute later, you're a good basketball player. That's not the way it works. This takes time. And what parents have understood long after they have left the program is that there is a method to the madness. There's a reason for everything done in this program. Why your daughter's on this team or that team. Why she plays this position or that position. And again, in my book, everyone's a guard. Everyone needs to be a guard, no matter how tall, small, whatever. Everybody needs to be guards. Everybody needs to handle the ball. Everybody needs to be able to pass the ball. Everyone needs to be able to shoot the basketball. Because if you get really tall and your ball handling's really good, say you're 6'3", 6'4", then it just makes you a much more attractive basketball player to a lot of people out there in the basketball world. But we've survived by just being consistent and trying to not follow everyone else and what they're doing in this segment of the basketball world. And it works. It works. It continues to work. It's worked for a long time. And as I said before, it's different, but I feel like if you cut the drama out of the program, okay, you kind of excuse that side of things, because there's a lot of that in every sport, but especially, in the basketball world. There's a lot of just, unnecessary distractions that can cause a program to fall apart. And for us to go 27 years as a basketball organization is pretty unheard of. In girls, boys, any soccer, softball, anything. And it's because we have just remained true to who we are. We're not perfect. We have a lot of bumps in the roads during the season, but because we have a set of core values, it's the reason why we have been able to not just survive, but remain strong in a very important part of the North Carolina girls basketball club AAU scene. And from a national standpoint, we have the definite name recognition amongst the bigger programs who, again, I told you, we grew up with before they became a Nike or Adidas or a Under Armour program. We have relationships with all of them because we were all started out the same way back when. So just understand, there's a method to the madness. A lot of this requires patience. A lot of times your anxiety or your worrisome thoughts can be answered by an email. If you try to guess what's going on in the program by yourself or by asking another program, another parent, you're probably going to get the wrong answer. The best thing to do is email me, say, hey, Coach R, Coach Robinson, Brian, what is going on here? What does this mean? How do we handle this situation or whatever? And again, those who've been here know that within sometimes 5 minutes, typically about less than an hour, sometimes a day, you'll get an answer back from me, and I'll try to get you back on track. But when you hold off and say, well, I don't want to bother Coach R, well, that's what I'm here for. That's what I do. I want you to enjoy this experience. I want your daughters to have a great time here. And you brought her here to play basketball, not to have a sideshow, not to have a lot of drama going on, and not to have your questions not answered. So, again, I think the communication is very important. Obviously, the on-court stuff is very important. And just in being allowed to have your daughters come to an environment where they can have a good time, enjoy themselves, make some new friends, and get better at basketball. that's pretty much what we're about. And if they get anything beyond that, that's great. Obviously, we've had close to 200 girls go on and play ball in college at some level. We've had a couple professionals as well, and that's great. That makes our program that much more stronger, or that much more strong. But that was not the purpose of the program. We do have the resources to help you get there, but that was not the purpose. The purpose is to get your daughter better for their school ball teams, and anything beyond that is just gravy. So just understand, we survive because of communication, because of the goals of trying to get your daughter better, and I hope that you'll follow that. And if you have any questions, again, email me. Don't call, don't text, because it takes a little longer for me to get back to you there. But if you email me, I can get back to you pretty quickly and hopefully get answers to your questions so that you can have an enjoyable season. So in conclusion, I have really enjoyed running this program for 25 going on 26 years. It's had its moments, ups and downs, good and bad, but it's something that when I started it, I never had any inclination that it would go this long. And the people that I've met, the places that I've been, the experiences, not just here in Winston-Salem or the Triad area, but around the country and the world, was all because of just the one girl who wanted to get better. And who would have thought it would have taken or lasted, I guess, this long. It's amazing. So whenever there's something bad that happens, I'm thankful for it, because it's something that probably should have never happened, because I probably never should have done the program. And when something good happens, I'm also very thankful for it, because again, I think everything's a gift. And those that have played in the program, those that have stuck through all the good times and bad times, been patient, that have given their time, their efforts, anything to this program, know that with me, it's forever. The relationship never ends. Have some kids come in at 7, 8, 9 years old, and now they're in their 30s, and it's like they never left. And to see them grow and to become the people they are today is really incredible. So I hope that you enjoy being part of the Steelers. Again, I know we're different, but different makes us great. And I'm just really, really thankful to be in the position that I'm in, because when it all comes down to it, as I said before, the basketball brings us together, but when the basketball is done, all you have left is the relationship. And what I found out is year after year, this has really changed and saved a lot of lives. The basketball. It's just the organization, but it's an organization that will be with you forever. And again, I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I'm just amazed on a daily basis everything that's come from that one decision back in the spring of 1996. Can you do this? All right. Winston-Salem.
The Steelers have always and will always be there for me.
The relationship is forever.